Okay, I'm going to try to get this cover apart. Alright, these can be interesting. Problem is you don't have an area to beat through this to get the shaft out. And somebody put the shaft in there so far that it's past where the groove is to pull it out. This being in our 38, late 37 cover, it might never even had a groove in there. Because this is so early, I don't know how they made it. So, we might have to get kind of tricky. But I know what I don't want to do is I do not want to drill a hole in the cover. I know that for a fact. We will be doing other things besides that. Even though the 36s and early 37 cover did have a hole right there. Which is one of the only two things that's different between this cover and that cover. Okay, so we got the set screw out to hold the shaft in. So the first thing we got to do is see how far the shaft is actually in there. And it looks like it's in there pretty far. So we have our pick right here. And what a shocker, it's not going to move the shaft. Always could have hoped, right? So now we got a couple options of how to do this. Could do something else as a good option. Yep, that ain't moving either. So I think everything on this cover is going to require heat. So I think we're going to have to worry about this one tomorrow. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to heat the cover up and try to get this plug out here without screwing it out because it's still in good shape. The next thing is I need to get the shaft out. So I'm going to heat the cover up. I'm going to come on my pick over here and see if I can move it again. I ain't holding my breath on that happening. The next thing is you can try getting in here a little pair of thin vice grips, clamp on the shaft and try to slide it over a little bit. Of course, once you get to where the vice grip marks are, it gets real hard again. I don't like doing it that way. The next thing is we got to weld something under the shaft and then pull it out with a puller, which pretty much destroys the shaft, kind of. You can always remachine it again, I guess. But I think that's my best option because I don't want to do anything with the cover. Shaft I can replace, cover is a little harder. And I can always fix the shaft by welding it back up and machining it, it'll look good as new. It's hard to weld the cover up and put casting marks back in. It doesn't work too good. And like I said, I don't want to put a plug in here, so I think I'm going to wind up doing that. All that's going to require more heat and effort. And it's getting late. I don't feel like doing it tonight. So we're pretty much done on that one, I guess. So we'll move over to our clutch. Let's see what this looks like. Now this is not the 36 to 39 clutch or 40 clutch. This is a 41 clutch. So this has the big fat offset here, which has a lot of spline here to go into our main shaft over here. So you can see how wide this taper is. What a shocker, the correct hub takes up most all of that taper. It goes right to the edge of it, see? The new ones you get, they only go on about that far. Because they figure you don't need no help holding it together. And every time you spin one of those shafts, you know how much that was a stupid idea. But they never fixed it, so well. Now the reason they don't do it is because they have to make two hubs. One hub for a kickstart bike, no electric start, and one with electric start. The electric start, that can't be there, there's no room for it. So I don't care about electric start, so we're not going to worry about it. Okay, now we got to get the springs disconnected out of here. So first thing I do is get the socket loose. Let me get the nut out of here. That requires a socket. 9/16 too. Okay, that came out. So you can see how it's got a nice wear mark in there. And these threads up here must be bad too because the screwdriver slot didn't let the nut come all the way up. And this nut's been not quite using the correct size tools to turn it. Looks like they're in there with an opening wrench. Okay, so I want to get these springs loose. I got to put a washer in here. You can use a valve collar. You can use a big washer, or you can use the big washer that comes in a kit, which is a real thick washer, special made. You can also stack big fat washers and 2 or 3 different ones on top of that to get down to a small hole again. At some point you got to get down to a 3/8 nut. So what this does is it compresses the springs right here down, and you can take these 3 nuts off here easily. Okay, so now these are now free. See, they come off with your fingers. At least 2 of them do. This one's a little tight. This one here, the stud has been ground on a little bit. I'm lazy, so I'll just take the 3 nuts off quickly. Okay, now you can go ahead and take this tool back apart. Take the tool out of the way. Now your outer spring, the outer pressure plate comes up, and you got your 10 springs. The early springs are big, thick, and they're short. Got a lot of tension on them. So there's 10 of these. We got our inner pressure plate. Now this is supposed to be flat. This one actually looks pretty good. Okay. And this is a stock clutch in here because it has a half plate. It's already stuck in there. Did you notice that didn't want to come off? Now they call it a half plate because this side is steel and this side is asbestos. It's also loose on here too. See how it's moving there a little bit? Look in the rivets there, you can see it moving. So this is your old stock plate. Now the reason they got the spring in plate, half plate, see it's a spring plate. See, you get a little springing action going here. So this is just like a car. As your clutch comes in, it got a soft engagement before it starts biting. This was for a rocker clutch, so they gave you a little more controllable the sweet spot where the clutch engages. They made it wider, so it's more easier to find it, take off easily. Okay, now this does not want to come out because it's all corroded. So we're just going to flip it over and let gravity help us. Gravity helped us. Okay, this has the old ball bearings in it. Doesn't surprise me. So this is definitely an early setup. I'm not sure what year they went to roller bearings, but I imagine probably about the time they went to a swing arm frame they did it. So probably in the later 50s. So this is definitely an early hub. Now if this has all got 2 big trails in here where the bearings have eaten up the hub, then you can go ahead and put the roller style cage in here, roller bearings on top of it, and it'll be good again for a while. You can see I had some water in there at one time recently and got pretty rusty. But, the bearings here don't look too awful bad. They're still shiny, so they're not all eaten up. Usually if the hub's all bad, it's all eaten up. So the inner row is rusty. You can see the rusty bearings. So there might be some rust marks going around the inside. So I don't want to take that apart right now because we'll have, I think it's 88 bearings here, something like that comes out, or 86, some number. So we're going to leave that together for now. I'm going to get this apart. And you can see right there those clutch plates, the holes are kind of eaten out a little bit, kind of round, oval shaped. That means it's had a lot of miles on it. Okay, so this here has still got a lot of muck in it. But that muck is not, it feels like varnish. You ever hear about oil varnishing up? There you go. It's varnished up. Now this here looks pretty nice, not worn much. And we're worrying about our surface in here, and you can see how the bearing area isn't too bad. There's those little rust spots I was talking about right there. So most likely those are on the other hub. So there's quite a few of them right through here. For like half the basket they're there. So that was probably on the bottom, sat for a while like that. But, this is still very usable. I'll probably go over to the roller cage because it just makes everything work a little better. So I'll probably upgrade because I'm not leaving it 100% stock. So I'm going to be putting a racing clutch in here anyway. And you want to make sure that the all of these riveted drive pins here are good. Sometimes they get loose, but this all looks pretty good. The teeth all look good. Here they're not all worn out. So you also want to make sure the basket is round so the plates don't stick in there. Okay, so there's our half plate. This has got the old stock asbestos plates in here. Doesn't surprise me. You get the first plates old, they're all old. Like I said, once again, you can see how many miles are on this thing. It's a lot of back and forth movement. It's got the old stock steel plates in there, which have the small hole here. See, the later plates have a big hole that goes way out to here. I'm not sure what year they switched again, but like most things, probably when they went to a swing arm frame, it was about time they started changing all this crap out. This has the old buffer plate steels in here. And this stuff's all stuck together. So, there you go. More stuck up parts. Alright, I guess I got interrupted again. Alright, there's what the clutch looks like.